because it's the top of the hour and we have lots to do. So before getting started, I will just firstly acknowledge that for those in the Calgary region, we work and play on the unceded territories of the Blackfoot Confederacy, the Siksika, Kainai, Piikani, the Tsuut'ina, the Stoney Nakoda Nations, the Métis Nation Region 3. And for those in the Edmonton area, we acknowledge the unceded territories of Treaty 6, the Cree, Dene, Blackfoot, Saulteaux, Nakota, Sioux, as well as the Métis. So if you are on other traditional lands today, please feel free to share your land acknowledgement in the chat. And we'd also welcome anyone in the community who would like to share their own land acknowledgement in their own meaningful way every week. Please just get in touch with Amber or I, and we can have you do that. We'd love to hear how others relate and how they take pride in our traditional territories. So please get in touch if you'd like to take on this task. I'm going to pass it over. Sorry, for those of you who are new today, and I see people are kind of pouring in here. My name is Bridget Legault. I'm the community manager with Rainforest in Calgary. We also have Amber Rowden on the call, who is our community storyteller in Calgary. And then we have a steering committee for Rainforest in Edmonton, a volunteer steering committee who some of them are here today. I can't see everyone on my screen, but James Kierstead will be sharing the intro to the Rainforest with us right now.
First and foremost, I want to thank Bridget, yourself and Amber and the people down in Calgary of Rainforest, Alberta that really have worked so hard to make it inclusive right across the province. Our two cities need to work together to create a global presence that people can see. And this is just one more step that helps. So on with the next slide. Welcome to the Rainforest today. Lunch without lunch. Who's got the slides there? Yeah, start with the video here. And
what does it take to realize an idea or for a seed to sprout? At Rainforest Alberta, we know the answer is rooted in trust. Traditionally, Albertans have cultivated their ideas in established systems. Inputs that don't fit these systems are weeded out. Opportunities for growth are missed. But now, Albertans want a dynamic landscape that can evolve organically, like a rainforest. At Rainforest Alberta, we believe a culture of trust is the fertile soil where ideas grow. Our budding innovation ecosystem is a network of relationships pulling each other up as they push forward in their own field. Trust breaks down barriers. An open, inclusive network increases collaborative innovation. Successful breakthroughs inspire new ideas. A cycle begins. Rainforest Alberta is a movement to amplify trust by cultivating honesty, inclusion, and accountability. How? Our social contract holds us accountable to demonstrate trust across the province. We meet to have honest conversations around collaboration. This leads to more inclusive spaces for everyone to fearlessly build new ideas together. By raising the standard of trust, Alberta's ideas, talent, and resources can be evergreen. Visit rainforestab.ca to sign the social contract and start growing together.
So I'm an entrepreneur like many of you in the room. I started volunteering for the Rainforest Initiative out of interest to raise all boats with the rising tide here in Alberta. We all get better and stronger in our businesses and in our community if we all work together. We use 6 pillars to guide our conversations and actions. Not all are weighted equally. Like any ecosystem, the right balance is crucial. They are measured each year through our scorecard assessment. Those pillars are culture, leaders, resources, engaged activities, policy and infrastructure, and role models. So today, tips for making your lunch without lunch better. Introduce yourself in the chat. Connect with individuals through direct messages. Put your camera on. I know we're not all in person, but we can get a little closer if we can see each other. Ask questions. Keep connecting on Rainforest Slack workspace, and check out the Lunch Without Lunch notes for capture of today's chat. And we also post the recordings on YouTube for those of you who prefer to look that way. Thank you all for showing up. We really appreciate it. And I'm super excited to hand it back over to Bridget and hear what's next for us today.
Fantastic. Thanks, James. And every week we have been highlighting one of our social contract values. So this week we look to role model. I will lead at times and follow at other times. Each person acts as a role model for everyone else. I will live by these ideals and enforce them as a member of the Rainforest community. So I was digging into the Rainforest book, The Secret to Building the Next Silicon Valley, yesterday as we were working on the scorecard assessment, and reading specifically about role models and how they are quite often just our peers who we wish to emulate. And the more we surround ourselves with those role models, the more we learn, the more we grow, the more we innovate. So that's kind of my takeaway on role models this week. If you have your own or would like to share a role model of yours in the chat, please feel free to do so. Looking at the participant list, there are plenty of you in the room, which is fantastic. So as per kind of our routine, the last handful of months, we are featuring another founder from our Alberta ecosystem. And today's founder, Meredith do you pronounce it Wasney, Meredith? Wasney?
Wasney.
Wasney, sorry. Wasney is someone that I first saw pitch at the Startup TNT event last month or so, and really resonated with me, your pitch, Meredith, because of the focus on community as part of your growth strategy. So really keen to hear more about that. We start seeing more and more startups in Alberta take on community as part of their strategy. So Meredith is the CEO and co-founder of Rallie, a Calgary-based fintech startup on a mission to get more women investing. She has over a decade of experience in marketing and communications and has worked across multiple industries such as energy, agriculture, and government. She's also been an entrepreneur since her early 20s and has owned a corporate event and communications consulting business for 6 years. She founded Rallie in late 2020 to combat this unique challenge that women face when it comes to building wealth. And so today we'll turn over to Meredith to hear her founder story. And as per usual, if this is your first time to Lunch Without Lunch, by the way, give a little reaction button if this is your first time to Lunch Without Lunch. So we can say hi and DM you. Oh, I got a few little waves there. Welcome, Michael, Polka Dot Door. Whoa, Rayanne, Marty, welcome, Joya, probably missing some. It really was a polka dot door moment there. Welcome to the Rainforest. We usually, after featuring the founder's story, we will have an engaged conversation, a Q&A. You can throw your questions in the chat, or we can one by one ask you to unmute and share in conversation with Meredith. And then we will head into some breakout rooms to get to know each other better. And coming back at 5 to the top of the hour, we will have time for some community announcements. So if there is something you would like to share with the group, that will be your moment to do so beyond the topic today. So Meredith, I'm going to turn it over to you.
Sorry, had to unmute myself. So yeah, first off, thanks Rainforest for having me today. I'm excited to be here to tell you more about my story and our company. So as Bridget said, I'm Meredith Wasney, co-founder and CEO of Rallie. So Rallie is a financial technology company, and we're building a platform to get more women investing. So we also really believe in community and education. So we're creating a safe space to bring women together to grow their financial independence, because ultimately we believe that there is no gender equality without economic equality. So first, to tell you a bit about our name. So the name Rallie has a dual purpose meaning to us. It's a play on the word rally with a Y, so which has a few definitions. One, to come together for a common cause or to renew an effort, and then also a stock market rally, so a period of sustained increases in the prices of stocks, bonds, or indexes. Things are going up, things are successful. So we really thought this encompassed what we were trying to do as a company and the movement we were trying to create. We just switched the spelling at the end to make it a little bit different. But today I want to focus more on the community and education side of our business. And I'll start with giving you a bit of a background about myself and how I landed up here. So Rallie was founded because in my early 20s, I met a partner, and within 1 year, I'd moved into his apartment, sold my car, we'd merged all of our finances and began life in that partnership. We got married, but by around age 30 or so, I decided to leave the marriage, and I found myself divorced and with full financial autonomy for the first time in over 7 years. And so with that, I quickly realized how much time I had lost to build wealth and how many women were in similar positions to me. So I started doing some research. I had talks with conversations with over 150 women about money, life, and relationships. And the reality is that my story is not very unique. And oftentimes we make decisions early in our life, not realizing how big of an impact they might have on our financial future. And this disproportionately affects women. So when it comes to financial services, women are a massively underserved market. So a woman is 80% more likely to face poverty in retirement than a man. And I'll tell you a little bit about why that is. So in the news, we often hear a lot about the gender pay gap, which is how much money women earn in comparison to men. And on average, women in Canada earn around 77 cents for every dollar a man earns. And if you Google the gender pay gap, you get 294 million results. But what we hear less about is the gender wealth gap, which is really the scary sequel to the gender pay gap. It's how much money women actually own and keep in comparison to men. So for every dollar a man owns, women as a whole actually only own 32 cents, and women of color own just 1 penny. So if you Google the gender wealth gap, you get only 32 million results. So there's about 250 million more articles on the pay gap than the wealth gap. So it's still not talked about a lot. Women are living men, meaning we actually need more money saved upon retirement. And there's a number of contributing factors to the wealth gap. And so the pay gap is just one of them. Which brings me to the problem. So when it comes to financial services, women lack support, and available financial products are built to be what the industry calls gender neutral. And what this really means is defaulting to male salaries, career paths, and lifespans. And so as women, we get paid less, we take career breaks like maternity leave, and we live longer. So we need a different investing strategy and more money upon retirement. There's also a heavy gender bias in financial advertising. 65% of articles that target women portray women as excessive spenders and encourage us to have self-control when spending, to use coupons, and to find a means of financial support like a parent or a husband. Meanwhile, the narrative that men see is to take bigger risks and invest more. And as well, women are also seen with like piggy banks and small change a lot. And you'll probably notice that a bit more now. So the narrative in financial advertising needs a big overhaul, which leads to ultimately women have a lot less money than men, a lot less wealth. So what is Rallie doing about it? We believe that community builds confidence. So we're creating a safe space for women to come together, to talk money, and to simply not feel alone when building wealth. As well, education is a big part of our company. We believe that's the best defense you really have to protect yourself from unforeseen circumstances that can impact your financial future. So we provide unbiased and practical education. And then one of the safest and best ways to grow your wealth for women is to start investing their money. So on average, women keep 71% of their assets in cash accounts where their money sits depreciating. So women are great savers and they're good with money, but the vast majority of them are still not investing their money, missing out on years of compound or growth through compound interest. So we're building an app to make the process of investing straightforward. We're looking at a full range of solutions. So everything from automated investing to technology that enables investment in cryptocurrencies and other assets. And we're currently in talks with potential financial and tech partners. So we want to fix this problem in the past and the future and where things are headed. So we believe that merging community with education and an actionable investing app will create a generation of financially powerful women. And so why now? Well, there's the wealth transfer is happening. So over the next 40 years, there'll be an unsurpassed wealth transfer of over $68 trillion. As well, by 2026, women will control almost 50% of the wealth in Canada. Investor demographics are changing in Canada, and they're set to favor women and millennials. So we believe that community is our strongest voice in the journey towards economic equality for women. And we also believe there's strength in numbers. We launched our brand in late November, and we've continued to introduce different community building efforts since then, so far all through organic. And so we've been able to have 850 women join our community across our different channels. So we have social media, we're on Facebook, Twitter, and Instagram, and TikTok. Some are built out more than others, but we're working on them every day. We're focusing on learning more about our audience and discovering what they want to hear from us as a company and what they're most interested in. We have our newsletter, which is called the Weekly Rally. We launched this 2 weeks ago, and it's delivered to your inbox every Thursday. It covers trends and news and company updates. It's got a informative and lighthearted humor style. And then as well, we have our blog, which started 2 weeks ago. This focuses more on education in terms of investing, money management, gender equality, and other ways to build wealth, like career changes or increasing your salary. So if you're interested in learning more about the gender wealth gap, this week's blog actually will go out tomorrow, and it's covering that topic. Sorry, give me 1 second. I've had a cough all week. So next we have events. So we plan to have events as a large part of our community building effort, because whether we're able to have them in person or online, being able to meet like-minded people and build connection is so important, and not feeling alone on your financial journey. So we'll have a mix of events, educational webinars specifically for investing in money management, where we'll bring in speakers, and then also networking events and social events with different themes. So we're planning our first event for mid-February. It's a love and money theme, and we'll be releasing more about that next week. And then lastly, partnerships. We're working on creating different partnerships with organizations, influencers, and other companies that support gender and economic equality. So we'd love your support for our cause and for our company. And so for our first event that we'll be launching in February, it'll be, the information will be released through our newsletter next week. So if you sign up at werally.com/join, you can be the first to hear about it and register possibly. And you can follow us on our social channels as well to engage with our community. So just a bit about our team. So we're passionate about this problem. Like, I've been an entrepreneur, as Bridget mentioned, for 7 years, owning a corporate event planning business. And then I also have 10 years of experience in marketing and communications. As well, my co-founder, Leanne, has spent the last 10 years managing and scaling social impact programs across North America. And then we've surrounded ourselves with a team of advisors with deep experience in wealth management and financial services and the tech sector. And so supporting us, so we are raising for our pre-seed. We've secured just over 300,000, and we're looking for investors. We'll use these funds to hire our team and build out our product and grow our community. We're also looking to grow our network of influential women in finance or tech who are interested in being a part of our events and meeting other women who are looking to break into these industries. We kind of believe that you can't be what you don't see. So we want to highlight success stories and provide inspiration. We're also planning to hold some focus groups over the next few months. So we're looking to get in touch with women who are interested in providing feedback on our product as we develop it to ensure we're heading in the right direction. And then lastly, as I mentioned before, we're looking to partner with organizations that support our mission to help women build wealth and then ultimately close the gender wealth gap. And with that, thank you guys for having me here today. And kind of what we've adopted as our tagline is "It's time to rally." So thank you.
Awesome. I love that tagline. Very inspiring. So to the group, Peter's got a question. So I'll get, Stefan's giving a clap. Thanks, Stefan. silent clap doing this. So really polka dot Dory today. If you want to raise your hand and we can go one by one, but Peter has sent me a message that he has a question, so you can go unmute, Peter, if you're not on your bicycle. Oh no, you're not on your bicycle. You're muted. No.
Thank you, and Meredith, great presentation. Just curious, and you don't have to get deep into it, but family court and court matters are a big deal, and often women lose because of their wealthier male counterparts that have the legal resources to battle and get legal services. So is there that? And I'll just add, I've got a female lawyer that would love to join your team, I'm sure. That would be, anyway. That's it.
Oh, no, that's great. That's definitely something like a topic we're going to cover for sure. Like you said, a lot of women end up in the underhanded position when they're going through a divorce or a separation of families. And so a lot of that is, they don't have access to resources, or they don't have the financial ability to be able to hire somebody or engage with, a lawyer or like a financial, or like there's a few different designations that you can go to, like a certified divorce financial analyst, to actually have people look into your finances in your marriage. So we'll definitely be bringing people in for different speaker series for people who are going through those things, and just letting them know, where to get the information and providing that education.
It's great. Thanks.
Other questions? We never have a silent crowd. Tommy's got a question.
Hi, Meredith. Great presentation. Just awesome. I don't know when presenters come, to Lunch Without a Lunch, if they have chance to look at the chat, because it's all about doing something very concise. And that I do have two little posts in there. And if you don't see them, maybe Bridget can forward them to you, because for so many reasons, I love what you're doing. Dad of 3 girls, and have been down this road. And I can say kind of glibly, I've been doing fintech before it was called fintech. So in that spirit, I just wanted to give you a shout out. It's just awesome. You present super well. I'd love to be part of your movement, really, and proud as an old guy to realize like the times are a changing, and it's just with people like you that are helping that. So nothing more I need to say.
Thank you. No, I really appreciate that. I appreciate your support, because it's so important. But thank you.
I'm muted. I was just saying that that was very kind, Tommy. I like how you said typically your daughters will respond to you in 3 days.
Oh yeah.
At which time you'll share this with them. So that's great. Alan, go ahead.
Hi there. Hi, Meredith. I really liked your presentation, and I wish you all the best of success. It's always a really great thing to have to bring in another way of bringing other people who may not feel like they're welcomed in that world to participate. The only thing, because I'm a big diversity and equity person, my background is human resources. So the only thing that I kind of get from your presentation is it doesn't say of another way for, and I don't hear, what I sort of feel that I miss in your presentation is that, where do you get the support of other people, like their partners, which might be a man or something like that, because I get that you talked a little bit about people who were divorced or divorcing or separated, those kinds of things. But I'm still hoping that a large component of your people that are going to come to you are women, whether they are or aren't in a relationship with a man or other people. So I just really always like listen to that other part where you may welcome their partners, whether they are male or female or whatever. That's the only part that I sort of feel that I miss. And I'm sure it's not intended, but I just really want to get away from that part where people might go, oh, well, you're saying you don't want us because we're men or something like that. And these certainly aren't your focus, but so I'm not really saying this very well, but I hope you kind of get the message that I'm trying to provide.
No, I do. I understand what you're saying, and you're right. It probably wasn't captured in the presentation well. I think that we definitely we've gotten that question more than once, and I agree. It's like we are focused on women because we believe that in order to make change, we have to be focused in one area. But I agree that there's like a large group of women who are already married or who already have a partner who, you know, their financial journey is still important. And we've talked, like anecdotally, we've talked to a lot of couples who the men and the husbands or the partners are interested in joining and learning how they can be a better ally or a better supporter of their women, of their wives or the women in their life, learning more about finance, because you're right, it's like it's also pressure for men too. It's kind of like a double-edged sword in some ways. So everybody kind of benefits when women have more money and learn more about finance. But you're right, we can put that, definitely make that more clear. So that's good feedback. Thank you.
Wonderful. Thank you.
And on that sort of note, and this is promised the last one I'm going to say because I don't want to donate. Recently, my best friend in Toronto, for some unknown reason, he and his wife, after 31 years, decided to go different ways. And it was more, I guess, his movement as a result. But he, in addition to being an accountant, you know, sort of managed their life, financial life together. And despite an amicable separation with some apparently conciliate, how do they call themselves? Collaborative family lawyers, which as a lawyer, I always find that humorous when there's that collaborative and when there's rights being talked about. But even with a very, very smooth, non-acrimonious breakup where he acknowledged that he was going to be basically paying for that lifestyle that she had for 31 years, just not living with her. Even with that, there was a lot of negative stuff, I'll say, raised by the service providers, you know, and I'm going to shout negatively out on my profession for some that just keep the ball, like stirring it around. And all I guess in my concluding comment is, while it's so important to have these fundamentals of business and finance, you know, instilled in our females, like at an early age, don't miss out on the crowd of 50-somethings that haven't got a clue and are finding themselves in a situation where they actually have to know what the hell's going on.
Yeah, no, we've heard that a lot too. And actually, like originally we were targeted toward, and we kind of have two targets and we're really seeing where we get the most traction, I guess, at the beginning. But we were targeted more towards the Gen Z, early to mid 20s who are just starting their careers. Because we kind of believe that it's like, time is your biggest asset in building wealth. But then we heard from so many women who were, you know, in their midlife, who were going through these major life changes, who really needed access and a safe space to go. So they've also become a part of our target market. And so, you're totally right. We've heard a lot of that.
Awesome. We'll go Gary and then Zach.
Okay. I have dropped a link in the chat there for you to Amanda. If you don't know her, you need to get to know her. She's an amazing lady. But my comment is that you mentioned that women tend to pile the money up in the bank and not really invest them wisely. I'm just about 50 years married as of July, and our deal was I was the only wage earner, and so I brought the check home and she took care of it and all the household and the kids, and did a phenomenal job. But she would pile that money in the bank and I wouldn't even realize how much was there, basically going downhill. So every once in a while I'd get my hands on it and invest it, and between the two of us, that's why we've got a decent retirement. So I didn't realize that it was a female thing to stock this stuff up in the bank, and and hope for the best kind of thing.
Yeah, no, that's interesting. I think that it's there's a confidence gap, you know, and women are not pushed as much as men are. Like it's kind of men have the opposite problem where they have to, you know, they are in investing clubs a lot younger and they start to invest, and you guys talk about it at like, you know, at pubs and whatnot, and women don't, you know, and so there's a like confidence gap there, and we haven't really had a space to go to learn and to have that community. And so it is very common. I've heard so many stories of women having, you know, tens of thousands or hundreds of thousands of dollars sitting in a savings account, like, yeah, depreciating. So it's not uncommon at all.
Zach, do you want to ask your question?
Yeah, thank you, Bridget. Hi, Meredith and Zach. My question's more around the tech. How are you looking, like, what does MVP look like for you? And then a question around like our ecosystem. What are the challenges? Or are you seeing a lot of opportunity to be able to get the technical talent you need to build that?
Yeah, so I guess MVP right now we're working through a few different things, but it's essentially we're trying to make it the simplest way to invest. So essentially you answer some goal-based questions, you open your account, and then you're put into a diversified portfolio of ETFs. So that, there's a big barrier to enter financial services in Canada because of the regulatory and compliance. So you need a lot of capital to start, and you need access to the right people, and you have to get through the regulatory hurdles and jumps. So for us, that's what we're working through right now, where the quickest path for us to market is to partner with a financial institution or a registered IROC dealer, essentially, and then on the tech side, we're not trying to reinvent the wheel. It's more trying to just change the narrative in our marketing, because, you know, I obviously get targeted all the time because I'm looking at these things. You just see how this narrative of gender bias in advertising is constantly penetrated through social media and all that whatnot. So for the tech as well, we're exploring a few different options right now. So I guess I can't talk too much about the tech yet because we're looking at a few different things, but we are potentially going with a partner for that as well, and a solution that will get us to market very quickly. If something happens in the future and we change direction for any reason, because really we're trying to solve the problem, and the solution might manifest in different ways. We would be looking for talent, hopefully in Calgary. And I guess we would be looking, I mean, ideally we would like to have a female, but at the same time, not to the detriment of the company's future. And so we haven't really explored hiring someone internally for that yet. And so I guess I can't give much insight onto that other than what I just said, I guess. Does that answer your question?
Yeah, certainly. Thanks for sharing.
What does your team look like now, Meredith?
So right now it's myself and then my co-founder Leanne. She's actually based out of Santa Monica right now. And then we are working with Tusk Hub, which is just a company based out of Calgary. So they are helping us with some of our social and analytics and whatnot. And then we have our advisory committee. So we've been holding off on hiring a couple of positions just because the gaps are filled with our advisory committee. So we have Pam Draper, who's the CEO of Bitbo, a cryptocurrency exchange here in Calgary. Daniel Valentini, he's head of strategy and planning for Uber Canada. We have Nicholas Gores, he's out of, he wasn't actually on my slide deck, I meant to add him, but he's a developer out of Montreal and was recommended to us by someone in Calgary. And then we have John Plazer. So he was our first angel, and he has experience in wealth management and cryptocurrency as well. So nice. They're kind of all really integrated right now into helping us get things off the ground.
Nice job. Nice. Okay, Alicia, go ahead, and then Al.
Okay, hi. I'll try and keep it short. It's more a comment that might come in handy as you're growing your business. I'm the CFO of my own startup, but I'm also a fractional CFO for other startups. And what I've learned is that for some reason, I can't remember where this fact, even if it is a fact, came from, was that women tend to view money as a pool. And so when the pool is shrinking, they're more anxious. And when the pool is growing, they feel safe. And also, and then men view money as a river. Sometimes it flows in a rush and a torrent, and sometimes it trickles, but money is always flowing and money is always there. And it really affects how people behave with their money when it comes to personal and within business. The other thing I learned, though, is that the high numbers of women, what is it, 44% or 3 in 6 women that have either experienced sexual violence or domestic violence, if they're able to extricate themselves, that comes with a financial trauma. I didn't know there was such a thing as financial trauma, but the absence of money to provide for their basic needs and that of their children can cause a level of anxiety and scarcity that might prevent them from taking more investment type decisions and making them. And there's also a lot of financial control within domestic violence situations. So that's a big chunk of the population that is making trauma-informed decisions about their money. And I just think it's good to kind of recognize where people are coming from when they're making those decisions. And it might be something to talk about in the future.
Oh, definitely. Yeah, no, I completely agree. I think that's definitely something we plan to highlight and want to highlight. And part of the reason like the company even started, because if you don't have, agency to get out of a relationship because of financial control or because of the lack of access to money, that's a really big problem. And that, like you said, Alicia, there's a ton of people who experience that, a ton of women who experience that. And then I also liked your analogy there because, what I've read, which is similar to what you're saying, is that women invest more in stages of life. So they think about marriage, they think about their child's education. So it's more chunked out, whereas men kind of start working and then they kind of like let it rip, right? So they have more of the tolerance for it. So it's really like educating women on like the returns and I think there is a perception that it's more volatile than it is. And then also, just getting through that, also that delayed gratification, because I think that's when you start, it seems really small. And then when you've been doing it for a while, you see that it grows, and that's when you start to see the impact, right?
Great. We'll go Al, and then after that, we'll head into breakout rooms.
Great. So a quick three-parter. First of all, great presentation. Meredith, if you need any information or need questions answered, anything to do with technology, or you need to hire developers, women or otherwise, please do not hesitate to ask. Secondly, I would love to have you on the Rainforest podcast as a guest. So let's chat about that. And thirdly, a question, with someone like Pamela Draper on your board or on your advisory committee, are you advising your women collective with cryptocurrency investing as well as traditional investing?
Yeah, so I mean, so when it comes to cryptocurrency, we definitely have a viewpoint on that, in the sense that we would never advise people to take more than a certain percentage of part of their portfolio. Like, we would never push people into something they're not comfortable with or something that's still being validated. On the other hand of that, though, cryptocurrency is really interesting because if women aren't investing in it, and it's even bigger gap right now, it's majority is men who are investing in it. If women don't invest in it and it does become a mainstream currency that people are using every day, which we're already seeing in Europe and in Africa, in 10 years or longer, it's going to perpetuate the wealth gap even bigger by extremes we probably can't even imagine. So there needs to be women in cryptocurrency. They need to be investing in it, at least part of their portfolio, so they don't miss out on the potential gains, right? Yeah. Thank you.
Lots of interesting conversation to be had, but let's let everyone have a voice here, and we'll head into some smaller rooms where we can continue on with this conversation. Or if there's anything that you're looking for in particular from the community, you can throw that out to the group, or anything you want to offer to the group, you can do that in these rooms. I think we'll have time for 2 kind of 7-minute blocks. So if you're going to step out now, if you're thinking of stepping out now and not taking part in this part of the hour, I urge you to stay, because the connections formed in these breakout rooms can lead to incredible projects, collaborations, moments in time. So this is where the magic happens in the rainforest. We urge you to take part in and trust that this will be a lot of fun. So feel free to enter your room, and if there's any challenges, just come back to the main one and we'll help move you around. So welcome back. I think you're all here now. Yeah, it's really odd how long this is taking. Amber's relaunching the poll. If you didn't get a chance to fill it out, or again, if you want to change your answers based on the conversations you just had. Hopefully you enjoyed that time getting to know others in the room. Please continue to connect either through LinkedIn or our Slack channel, or whatever means makes sense to you. A big thank you to Meredith and Rallie for sharing her story thus far with us today. Meredith, lots of fans in the room will all be following where this journey takes you, and the Rallie team. So thank you very much for spending this hour with us. And I'll turn it over to the community for any announcements. I did mention before everyone got on that the Calgary scorecard will be rolling out next week. More on that at Lunch Without Lunch next week, but watch for it. And it's your opportunity to measure the current state of the Calgary tech ecosystem. And I know, okay, so Adam has his hand up, and I think Zach might have an announcement, and Peter. So go, Adam.
Hey everyone, mine is less so a community announcement, more a community call out. I was just in 2 networking calls, and Ryan Torson they had the last 10 seconds of each, and I just wanted to put him on stage. Ryan, what are you doing? Because twice I didn't get to hear about it, so I'm calling you out, man.
Hey, it's all good. I'm currently transitioning into tech from the oil and gas industry. Was involved in Edge Up 2.0, just finished in December. So yeah. It's great to see everybody, network with everybody, just looking for the next steps. So
Ryan, Zachary Novak is here. He's got the careers in tech community. He can help you out, and I'll go to him for his announcement next.
Yeah, so one, I'll promote the careers in tech community, which is almost like an unbundling of the rainforest, but we really focus on helping mid-career professionals pivot into tech. So we have a whole community of people. It's been great. We've been doing for a year. And with that, I've put together a course. So the community is free, but this course I am charging for, but I'm taking all of my best practices over the last 4 years, pivoting in and helping people pivot, and kind of putting that into a six workshop course-based course, which I'm really excited to do, and help people get across the finish line, because it's a big part of my purpose. So if anyone's interested in that, you can reach out to me or Bridget. I'll put a link in the chat. But yeah, if anyone's interested, reach out.
Yeah, I did put in the chat. It's an incredibly supportive community for both advisors and pivoters. So do check it out if you're on either end of that spectrum. Peter.
Yeah, I just like to see a show of hands, if you don't mind. I'm playing with an idea with a couple other people to do a masquerade comedy, mental health, physical event somewhere, and how many people might be interested in doing that sort of thing. I know it seems like a weird combination, but just a show of hands for people who might be interested.
Doing duck and cover for January, so I'm not doing anything physical.
You got quite a few hands there, Peter. So maybe
thank you very much.
Folks can connect with you. V, go ahead.
So I just want to bring up again that I'm organizing and facilitating a book study action group on the rainforest, secret to building next Silicon Valley. My information is in the chat. It's also posted on Slack. Let me know if you're interested, and if you need a book, I will get a book into your hands.
Yeah,
about 9 sessions.
Okay.
Once per week, 9 weeks, around about an hour.
Awesome. V, I'll also mention, like, we did a fireside chat with one of the authors, Greg Horowitz, last March. It's on our YouTube channel, goes into some neat perspective, and he's supposed to have a new book coming out. I'm surprised we haven't seen it yet. It is the top of the hour, so if you have to run, thank you so much for joining us. Again, connect with each other after this event. Tommy, I'll turn it over to you for your community. We keep or your announcement. We keep the room open if anyone would like to stick around and continue to chat. Tommy, go ahead. Sorry, you're muted.
I think that's a better way for me to be, Bridget, muted. But anyway, all kidding aside, I do have not an announcement, but I posted a link to something I put on LinkedIn and about a young fellow by the name of Alex Rodriguez, not to be confused with the former baseball player and squeeze of J-Lo, but actually Alex Rodriguez, 26-year-old, born Calgarian, son of another entrepreneur, Claudio Rodriguez. But Alex recently became the youngest CEO of a NASDAQ listed company when he took Embark Technologies public, and worth a small 5.2 billion on the IPO. And Alex did rather well since he owns 10% of the company, but he is the most humble guy you can imagine. And the Herald did a story about 2 months after. It was on last week's Saturday Herald, I believe, and talked about him and his journey. And, you know, my post was really, you know, trying to tag anybody that I thought might actually see this and say, this is the kind of person that is ready to come back into the community. And, you know, yeah, he had to leave to get his success, but I think he is the kind of guy, and I know his dad is saying he would love to come back and help in the growth of this province.
Great.
So that's all I got.
Cool.
I'm
Yeah,
sorry,
go ahead,
which
Alex.
person, what's the name of the person you're talking about? Are you talking about Alex Rodriguez?
I am.
Okay, got it.
Yeah. Yes, you'll see in the LinkedIn, it's the link to the Herald article, and then I throw a couple of, you know, little like shout outs like this. Basically, this is a guide. This is, you know, I love these stories where, you know, boy makes good or girl makes good and comes back. And, you know, obviously the Herald reporter got him sometime over Christmas after the IPO. It's a, like, if you hear, you know, I always worry when it comes to self-driving vehicles, you know, of the fact that I might get run over by one of these one day. But to hear him talk about the 18-wheeler, you know, world, where they'll probably get better acceptance than in the, you know, sort of conventional, you know, driving world, and talk about really as a how would I call it, a safety thing. Like so many accidents are, you know, involve truckers because of the hours they lead and, you know, the routes they take. And I'm not saying this is all going to happen overnight, but man, I'll tell you, the software as a service that they've developed at Embark, look out. It's just pretty cool to watch. I urge you to check them out and check him out.
Okay, thanks.